You're listening to Inside the Locker Room with Wimp and Barry Sanderson on Tide 100.9 in Tuscaloosa.
On Seattle atop the AL West with the Mariners losing to the Tigers 3-2 in 10 innings. Guardians AL Central leaders beat the Cubs 6-1. Phillies on top in the NL East down the Marlins 9-5.
Inside the Locker Room with former Crimson Tide basketball coach Wimp Sanderson and his son, former SEC and ACC assistant basketball coach Barry Sanderson. It's time to take you inside the locker room on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
And good morning and welcome into a Thursday edition of Inside the Locker Room. 205-342-9904, as we tell you each and every morning, is the phone number for all the shows. So lock that number in your phone and put it under Tide 100.9. Also download the Tide 100.9 app to your smartphone. They had the First Coaches show last night. Greg Byrne was on there, and we have a few clips about that, but it was a good show. Last night I did get to hear a little bit of Greg Byrne and Chris Stewart last night out at Baumhouse. That will be every Wednesday night, which is a change from normally it's on Thursdays. Yellowwood pressure-treated pine from Great Southern. Always remember, if it doesn't have the yellow tag on it, you don't want it. If you're going to build, you want to build to last. There's only one choice. That's Yellowwood. Go to yellowwood.com to find a dealer that is closest to you. And always remember, if it doesn't have that yellow tag on it, you don't want it. Email for the show, if you want to email us, is wimpandbarry@yahoo.com. Got Wyatt still behind the glass, helping us out this morning, so we appreciate him being in. Good morning, Wyatt. Good morning, Dad. Good morning, Dad. How are you this morning?
I'm doing okay. Several things. Braves won 13-3, I think it was. With Memphis starting the playoff in golf, you won't see any more golfers until December the 30th in Hawaii. So they get to spend all the money they've made for the next several months. I want to know who the quarterback is for the first big game, I guess you'd say, Wisconsin. Tyler Van Dyke, who had 4 years at Miami, has been announced as the starting quarterback there. I'm going to talk about the title chances of these teams. I hope if I can put it up, I want to talk about it. Texas title chances, title chances getting into the college football playoffs, what I should say. I think Texas is doomed a little bit, but the teams in order with the best chances, I'm not going to go through betting for the bettors. Georgia, Texas, Ole Miss, Alabama, LSU, Tennessee. These are in order, but the gamblers. A&M, Oklahoma, Auburn, Florida, which is 10 teams. Left out is Arkansas and Kentucky, Vanderbilt, South Carolina, and one other. I can't think who it is, but of course Georgia's at the top, Florida's at the bottom of the 10 teams that they have selected to. Not selected, but thought maybe they'll have a chance to get in the playoffs. Ohio State leads in the Big Ten with Wisconsin. Odds are down at the bottom in a 16-18 team league. I guess they're 10th, so that's one of Alabama's opponents, Wisconsin. So that to me was a little bit interesting. Utah led the Big 12 as far as the gamblers were concerned in getting in, and Colorado was down the list somewhat. And in the ACC, Clemson was picked number one, and gambling-wise, Florida State 2, Miami 3, NC State, Notre Dame were in there. It was just mentioned a minute ago that Aaron Judge was the fastest guy to get 300 home runs since Ralph Kiner. Not anybody on the show but me that knows who Ralph Kiner was. He was a heck of a player, but he played a long time ago. So outside of that, most of the stuff that you try to read and come up with to give you is the same thing they've been giving us for several days. So that's about it. We welcome your calls. I think the 815. JC will really be good. He always is. But I think the
Yeah, you gave the Braves score. Michael Harris, their center fielder, who's been out for a while, came back last night, first inning, first at bat, hit a grand slam. So it's always nice to get your.
Should have mentioned that. Yeah.
That guy will make you a good. Michael Harris makes you a good manager. He comes in and hits grand slam. This kid can really plays really fast, can cover.
Where's he from?
I'm not sure where he's from, but he may be from Georgia. I'll try to figure out where he's from, but that's pretty cool. Mac came running in the bathroom when he hit it, but his first at bat, they've been talking about, they've been so injured this year, and I actually heard Gary the other day, and I'm going to have to argue with Gary when he gets here. Somebody had called about if they were able to make the wild card, and he said that would, it would be a down year if they didn't. When you place all the guys, Acuna and Harris and Strider and their shortstop, and, man, they've dealt with so many injuries. It's been a revolving door there for Atlanta. I know a lot of people here adopt the Braves kind of as their team with no protein. So anyway, the Braves do get the sweep of the San Francisco Giants, and they're right there for the wild card. They're 6 games behind the Phillies, who actually have struggled a lot here since the All-Star break.
One other thing I wanted to say to the football wise, that the odds are that you can lose 2 games and still get in the playoff. Or the odds, I forget what the odds were, but that was the comment that was made. So I don't know.
Yeah,
according to what kind of schedule you played to, they went into all that stuff, but it's possible to lose 2 games and get in.
Yeah, I get, if you're ranked 5 or whatever, you probably win, you lose, and who you lose to, I think will be big in that situation. But yeah, there certainly will. You'll have to have 2 lost teams in the playoff.
Now there will be a committee to pick the ones that did not automatically qualify by winning their league. So I guess that will be, the stink that we generally have on most last 2 or 3 teams.
Yeah, one of the things I heard the other day, I didn't realize. I guess. Wyatt, correct me if I'm wrong. I guess Notre Dame is not considered really in the ACC, and so they can get in the playoff, but they can never get the bye. So that was pretty interesting there. So they could go undefeated, and they still would have to play in the first round for not being in a conference because they would not be the ACC champion. So there is a spot there for Notre Dame, but that may, I don't know. Of course, that may not make them want to get in the league, but they can never get the bye. So at the end of the day, I guess maybe they could get a home game out of it. And I'm curious as to the home game. I guess all that money will go to the college football playoff people, right? I mean, if Alabama were to play a home game, would they get the revenue from all that? I mean, I'm sure they would get to cover their expenses, but I wonder where that revenue goes. Is it all going to one big pot there, and you don't get that? So anyway, it'll be interesting to see as you get closer to it. It looks like Alabama's going to be in, but you're not sure whether they'll get the bye. Do they go ahead and sell the tickets? And if they don't get in, then they're going to have to refund the ticket. But you would think they'd have to get ahead of that. Get all that done.
Advertising-wise, these people that advertise and make the money for the schools to get, Notre Dame, regardless, is a big deal. There are people that will advertise behind the scenes on ESPN because Notre Dame is in it. They just are. They're a big deal. They'll lose.
Yeah, that'd be pretty big. You want Alabama, Dad and Wyatt, to be in that top 4 to get the bye. How sweet would that be if a first-round playoff game would be Alabama and Notre Dame and on Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium? So I tried to get that right. Nick's kids, they had that yesterday. Dad, Coach said that was his favorite day of the year, and they gave out $675,000 to different organizations here yesterday, which is great. He even talked about he wants to grow it to be kind of what the Jimmy V Foundation be. He looks at that, how big that's gotten for cancer research. So I don't think Coach is done, even though he's not coaching with his Knicks kids. I think that brings him he and Miss Terry, a lot of joy to do that. And so they had the press conference, and did you see what happened? She was telling some retirement stories, and so they went through McDonald's and ordered some food, and she handed him the credit card to pay, and he asked, "McDonald's takes credit cards?" Yes, yeah. Nick. And then did you hear? So he's getting ready to go up and do his ESPY speech, and he had been chewing gum. And so Miss Terry said, "Nick, you need to get that gum out." And he said, "I've already did. I put it under my seat." So does that mean he stuck the gum under his seat?
Sure.
Have you ever done that? Stuck the gum under your seat?
Not many times. I might have done it when I was a little kid. I doubt I've done it.
Somebody
Sweet went out of it. So.
Somebody said it wasn't so, but you can't be up there chomping gum when you're doing your ESPY speech. Somebody said somebody's going to go find that chair and pull that gum out and sell it on eBay. With Nick Saban's chewed gum, what would that be worth on eBay?
Well, you think nothing, but some goober would like to have it.
Would pay for it. So anyway, all right. My son Mac, who's 8, we got to do a blood test in the family, guys. I'm not sure he's mine. He got accepted. I'm gonna brag on him right now. He got accepted into the gifted program yesterday. So I don't know what that means. Jenny.
That sounds like a daddy bragging to me.
Yeah, it is. Gifted, that's pretty good. Gifted, he's in the gifted. Jenny called him and told him, because the teacher had called and said he got accepted to the gifted program. He said, "Mama, I'm going to have to call you back. I got to process this." That's what he said. So anyway, that's certainly not my son if he's in the gifted program. Or sometimes luck happens. 2 Men in a Truck, they're at 1330 Martin Road East. That's where you go, "Mom, I got to process this." That's where you go pick up your boxes, your packing supplies, whatever you need to make this a smooth move. It's local, out of town, out of state, no problem. They can handle it for you. Moving is stressful. These guys will come in, pack it, load it, deliver it. If you need stuff moved around the house, they can do that for you as well. I know they're busy here with all the students moving in and moving out and people getting ready for school. So give them a call today, 205-247-5050. That is 2 Men in a Truck, movers who care.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread.
Good Thursday morning. There has been another fatal shooting, this one in Northport. It happened earlier this morning in the 3700 block of 17th Street. According to the Tuscaloosa Violent Crimes Unit, 1 man is dead. This incident places Tuscaloosa County 3 homicides shy of matching the all-time record of 26 set in 1975 and 2006. Click TuscaloosaThread.com for more local news, sports, and weather. It's free throughout the day. Don Hartley, Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. Here and there, delays around the area. Nothing serious at all. We've got construction zones and such. And so on McWright's Ferry Road extension between Rice Mine Road and New Watermelon Road, that's long term. And McFarland, always something going on there. Now both direct.
Looking at the cigarettes, but she just grabs the gum off the counter. Stand Up to Cancer and Rally want you to reduce your risk for cancer. Go to takeahealthystand.org.
Road tripping, business travel, or bringing your car in for repairs. All great reasons to rent a Toyota at Tuscaloosa Toyota. You can rent the latest Toyota models for a day, a week, or a weekend. Every Toyota rental car comes with 24 hours roadside.
See if it makes sense for your business.
Go to townsquarelocal.com for a free demo of the Townsquare Business Management Platform. Visit townsquarelocal.com. That's townsquarelocal.com.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
A partly sunny sky today. The chance of a few isolated showers through tonight. Behind today, 93. Tonight's low, 74. Tomorrow, a mix of sun and clouds. A chance of scattered showers and thunderstorms by afternoon. Behind 92. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9.
Never miss a moment of the action. Download the free Tide 100.9 app today.
Welcome back to Inside the Locker Room. Pressure treated pine from Great Southern. Always remember, if it doesn't have the yellow tag on it, you don't want it. Football tonight, Jamboree tonight out at Northridge. My good friend, Coach Ryan Lolly, and we've talked to people about, we need to have Coach Lolly on. Well, he's a great guy. A lot of times you go to a school and, you're new there. He's been so good to me in our basketball program. I love being around him. They will play a jamboree tonight against Coleman out at Northridge. So 7 o'clock. So get out there and watch some high school football. Support these kids. I really appreciate Coach Lolly and the person that he is now. He's treated me and our program for sure. All right, get to the Yellowwood hotline. Get Philip in. Good morning, Philip.
Good morning, gentlemen. Hey, Barry, appreciate you taking my call. Hey, Coach. I was talking to Martin a minute ago, and we were talking about the Hey Coach show last night.
Yeah.
And we talked about the Bohr thing and Burn and all that, but I think Martin and I weren't quite on the same wavelength. But I told Martin the most interesting thing to me that they talked about was Burn talked about the new basketball arena, and correct me if I'm wrong, he talked about how it would fit in with the new practice facility. So I think a lot of people thought, and I was included in that group, that the new arena was sort of a dead issue. But last night he gave me the impression that it's not a dead issue.
No, one of the things with Nate Oates' great year that they decided that they need to upgrade their practice facility. So on the backside of Coleman Coliseum, where the current one is, I think, and I maybe don't have the space, but I think they're actually, maybe the women are going to get maybe the existing one that they have, and they're going to build a new locker rooms and a new practice facility and everything. And it's about a $54 million project. I think I heard them say they've already broke ground on it because Nate Oates is really into player development, meetings, a new weight room, a new locker room, all that stuff. When they build the new arena, there will be no practice facility or anything like that. Of course, they've discussed building this new arena up there by the softball field at the bottom of that hill down there. So when that is built, it will be just for competition only, just for the basketball, and I'm sure gymnastics and women's basketball. I don't know about volleyball, what they'll do, but it would, and that's how they did it with us at South Carolina. We had our offices and stuff were on the Frank McGuire Arena. They built a practice facility there. Then when they built the new arena, it didn't have a practice facility, any of that over there. So we'd go over there and practice some, but most of your practicing in the practice. So I think he just wanted people to know that, because there was a lot of people maybe complaining they were going to spend $54 million on this practice facility, that the arena was dead. I think he was just letting people know, no, it's not dead, but it's going to be just a competition facility only.
That's right, and I appreciate you taking my call. I just wanted to clear up my previous call to Martin that idea, although it may be a ways off, it's not dead and buried. It's in their eyes, it's still a viable possibility. So that interested me more than just about anything they talked about last night.
Yeah. What are your thoughts? You think, I know Dad's up kind of mixed emotion. I think he likes the games in Coleman, and if you win, they're going to come regardless of where it is. Just to, the concession area, all that at Coleman is just so outdated. But the arena part is fine. I would like the students to be more around the court. I don't know if you can do that, if you can reconfigure that now, because you really would make a lot of people mad. But what are your thoughts on the arena? You think they need to get it done? Or are you okay with Coleman?
Well, the older I get, I'd love to see it get done. I'd love to be able to live to say that I saw it happen. I think it'd be great, but it's not my money.
Yeah.
I think that Coleman definitely needs some things from a seating standpoint that would help it, and that cost a ton of darn money too. But the bones of Coleman are pretty good, but it's definitely not new.
Yeah, Dad, your thoughts?
I don't have any. I won't be here when the new arena.
Yeah, you will.
Well, I won't.
Yeah,
when the new arena, Barry. I'm not trying to be. I will not be here when the new arena This new arena's built. I just won't. My age won't let me be. So just whatever happens, happens.
You know, well, Dad, talk about this. In a perfect world, Philip, in my opinion, the location of Coleman Coliseum, I think, is prime. You got the dining halls right there where those guys, you got baseball, you got the practice thing, the training rooms and all that. I don't know there's any way to build the new arena in the current parking lot where the Coleman Coliseum is, and then get rid of Coleman, or if you tore down Coleman. But if you tore it down, you got nowhere to play for a couple of years, maybe a year. So I don't think they'll do that. But I think the reason they want to keep everything there is just so convenient. Those guys can practice, lift, and then they just walk right over to the Malmore building to eat, this, that, and the other. So everything being there is convenient.
You could always build a new law school.
Yeah, that would be the perfect location right there.
There you go.
There you go, Philip. There you go. Perfect. Thank you, Philip.
Thank you.
All right, Dad, we can listen to some of Greg Byrne, what he said there. But he said he talked with Coach on a Tuesday, and obviously I think Coach had been saying, hey, I don't know how much longer I'm going to do this. And there's been some speculation as to when did he actually reach out to Kalen DeBoer and all that. I don't know that they reached out, but I think it's very important to Nick Saban that he was the one to tell the team. He did not want it to get out. And you cannot, if you tell anybody, that thing's going to get out when the greatest coach in college football. And I think it was very important to Coach. So he did everything from interviewing assistant coaches to recruiting all the way up until he walked into that room. The fact that they kept that quiet, I think is amazing. And I think it probably did go right down to the last hour, don't you, for them able to even keep it quiet.
That's the reason I'm so smart, because I knew it.
Yeah, well, you knew 2 months before. Chase, we don't ever get any credit on our show there. Dad had been announcing the guy was going to retire for 2 months before it happened. And it happened, and everybody was shocked. But the fact they kept that a secret.
They call me senile.
They never would have been able to keep that a secret if you start telling. If you tell anybody, what do they say? I'm going to tell you this, Chase, I'm going to tell you this, Wyatt, but don't you tell anybody. And then you tell 10 people that, and then it's out. But he talked about, I guess after he met with the team, Greg Byrne and them talked to the team, and they said, got to give me 72 hours with the transfer portal and all that. And that's why they were in a crutch to get it done. But all that's gone. You got to give Greg Byrne a lot of credit there. It's gone. The transition's gone really well from that announcement all the way up until today, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah. I don't know who you were talking to.
Talking to you.
I'm sorry. I thought you were talking to him. Yeah, he has done a great job. So he's done a great job as athletic director. So.
Yeah, and he talks about getting good people, and I think he has. I've gotten to know some of the coaches over there. They've hired some really good people. All right, we'll take the break here. We'll get to our main man JC when we get back. We'll go around the SEC with JC, talk all college football with him. You listen to Tide 100.9 and 1230 AM WTBC. It's the home of Alabama sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. Here and there, delays around the area. Nothing serious at all. We've got construction zones and such. And so on McWright's Ferry Road extension between Rice Mine Road and New Watermelon Road, that's long term. And McFarland, always something going on there. Now both direct.
One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
Two-time state champion and two-time NIT champion Barry Sanderson breaks down the latest in sports on Inside the Locker Room on Tide 100.9.
Welcome back to Inside the Locker Room. Yellowwood, pressure treated pine from Great Southern, built the 5-star backyard. Get yourself ready for college football in that backyard. Go to yellowwood.com to find the dealer closest to you. He's the owner of the BigSpur.com. Got several different podcasts. Joins us every Thursday. JC Sherbert. Good morning, JC. How are you, my man?
Hey, JC.
Good morning, fellas. Good to be with you today.
My question to you today is, will the Big Ten and the SEC, in your opinion, take 8 of the 12 teams in the college playoff?
Well, yeah, I think that's likely. It's are there going to be 4 and 4, 5 and 3? That's the question.
Yeah.
A lot depends. All right. So let's say in the ACC, Clemson beats Georgia, and let's say Tennessee beats NC State, and then or NC State beats Tennessee. They're both undefeated and playing in Charlotte. I think that's a possibility to steal a bid.
So both of them would go?
Yeah, I think both of them would go with those types of wins against good SEC competition. Okay. A lot depends on how good Georgia and Tennessee are.
Yeah.
Notre Dame, and look, I'm not a Notre Dame hater, but let's be honest, they do get preferential treatment, and they're salivating over because they don't get a bye, even if they go undefeated. But you look at their schedule, man, if they get past A&M, there's just not a lot. I mean, at Southern Cal at the end of the year could be challenging. Louisville beat them last year, but they got to go to South Bend. They play Florida State, but it's in South Bend. I mean, Notre Dame just really does not play a soul right now. Last year it looked easy too, and then Duke and Louisville were good. But, so Notre Dame will probably steal a slot. The Big 12 is wide open. How good are those teams going to be? So, I would think that would be the case because you got, 8, and then you got 9, 10, 11, 12. You got your group of 5, your ACC champ, your Big 12 champ, and Notre Dame. So even if Notre Dame makes it, it could be that they do get 8 of the 12, Coach. I mean, I think that's the idea.
It's a pretty interesting question, and it's a pretty interesting question for this time of year, no doubt about it. Everything this time of year is speculation anyway.
Yeah.
Clemson's been picked to win the ACC according to the bettors, and Utah's been picked to win the Big 12. I think Texas' chances of being number 1 in the SEC have gone down because of the 2 injuries. I could be wrong on that.
You got to be able to run the ball in this league, and they're going to find that out. I haven't been totally sold on them anyway, just because every year it seems, they've got a lot to prove. And I don't know if they proved it. I know they made the playoff last year. They had some moments where they did, where they played as they were capable, but there's sometimes they don't. And in this league, you can't just show up and play. You can't head to the mean streets of Starkville, Mississippi. They don't play at Mississippi State this year. But you can't play those boys from Starkville and just get by like you can Baylor or whoever else they historically struggle with, Kansas, whoever. So it's going to be interesting with them for sure. Are they a playoff caliber roster and team? Yes. The Big 12, I think, is the most wide open conference. I mean, Kansas State, Utah, Arizona, Kansas. Iowa State has 17 starters back. Wow. Oklahoma State, without Oklahoma and Texas, is the best program in that league. Texas Tech is dangerous. I don't have much faith in Colorado, and I love Utah. Utah has been really the class of the Pac-12.
Yeah. We've got Mississippi State, Kentucky, South Carolina, and Vanderbilt. Off my top of my head is the 4 that won't be close to even considered to be in the playoffs. I was hoping South Carolina could be in there because I'm a South Carolina fan, but
you never know. You never know.
speculation.
I've got a little bit of confidence there, but not that they'll make the playoffs, but I think they'll have a surprisingly good team. I think your bottom teams, and you have to pick South Carolina there, even though I'm a Gamecock guy, because, it's not proven. I mean, all this is based on what's proven and what's coming back. There's so many new faces. But you got Arkansas, I think it's going to struggle. I think Mississippi State and I think they may bite somebody in the butt because of their style of play. They're running that Tennessee offense. So it's going to be wide open out there at Mississippi State this year. And we know how Tennessee, didn't really have this roster everybody loved when Heupel got there, and they had a winning season and went to a bowl his first year with 61 players on the roster. So that style of play can sometimes surprise you. But I'm not real faithful. I'm hopeful for them. Vanderbilt, Arkansas, Florida,
Kentucky. Florida's down to bottom in the predictions.
Florida's schedule's just too tough.
They're 10th in the predictions, but Kentucky is. They always play, those weak Ohio teams. There's a non-conference schedule. So
we're gonna find out about Kentucky. Gamecocks go up there in week 2, and then Georgia goes up there for prime time in week 3. So they got Southern Miss, which used to be dangerous, and then they got South Carolina, and then they got Georgia. Now they're all at home, and they do play the weak Sisters of the Poor plus Louisville, who they've owned. But I don't know. Something strikes me as odd about Kentucky this year. Just Mark Stoops. Isn't as confident? You had the whole A&M thing.
Why did he not take that job? Stupid.
I think it was on A&M's end.
Really?
I think word leaked he was getting it because the people that were reporting that don't just report garbage. They're usually accurate, and I think it ended up being like a silent Schiano because I think they're boosters, and boosters do this and fans do this, but they don't. Nobody really understands, where you're at. This is your record, but this is where you were at. So this is a dang good record. I mean, he's the winningest coach in Kentucky history over Bear Bryant. That job is probably 15th out of 16 in the SEC. He won 10 games twice there. I mean, it's hard. I mean, the only difference between them.
That's why he's left.
And I think he was trying to, and he's openly complained about basketball, openly complaining about NIL and the fact that he's got to do all the work, and he just seems a little sour. And I think I'm old enough to remember when Bobby Crimmins went to South Carolina and came back, and that was much more public. But how many games Bobby Crimmins won at Georgia Tech after that? When you openly flirt and when it almost happens and then it falls apart, a lot of times you can't recapture the magic. Now, they've got a really good defense. They got that Deion Walker, he's 356 and moves around like he's 230. They got a good defensive front, all SEC types on all levels. Brock Vandergriff obviously has a lot of potential. But they lost a running back for the first couple of weeks of the season. It's not good because, like I said, they're going to play some tough teams early. They're good at receiver, but they got to get better at dropping the ball. And their offensive line just hasn't been the same for the last couple of years. So, offensively, who knows what they'll do? They got another new coordinator. Defensively, they should be good, but I'm not necessarily buying Kentucky. And then you get on up into your Auburns and Texas A&Ms of the world, some teams like that, and then I'll go on up to Tennessee. I think Tennessee's a dark horse if you really kind of look at their personnel and their schedule. So, it could be a battle royale for those spots if indeed the SEC gets 4 or 5. I think it'd be great for the league, and as long as I want to see some cold weather first round games because it's never happened in the history of the sport. I mean, can you imagine going to Salt Lake City for December? I mean, my God.
Oh.
So it's going to be interesting to see how it all shakes out. But I'm not in disagreement with you, Coach.
JC, Alabama's got a lot of newcomers going to play on the back end of their defense. So I think it's good that they get to West Kentucky early. They're not playing one of these big games to kind of get these guys going. But I want you to tell us, what is Alabama going to run into at Wisconsin? Obviously, Wisconsin, I think they're ranked maybe 30. They're not in the top 25. Camp Randall's a tough place. But I want to say it's an 11 o'clock kick, which I don't know that that's an advantage for Wisconsin or not. You think a night game would be incredible there. I was watching TikTok last night, and they had one of their freshmen, I think, up singing or whatever, and he was really good, and that place got so energized. I was like, ooh, I'm thinking as a coach, man, this team looks to be together. Will Alabama run into something really tough there that when they go to Wisconsin where it's a game they could drop?
You guys know I have all these theories on the game and, rules that I follow and stuff, and I just – every school's got a DNA. Now, some have changed. I'm old enough again to remember when Alabama, they changed under Nick Saban and went from kind of a pro-style power attack to chuck it all over the yard and go fast. Clemson did the same thing. So I'm not saying it can't happen, but some schools have DNAs where, this was the formula when you were great. Wisconsin has been a ground and pound football team because you can recruit offensive linemen up there. They got big, and their last names is either a Scandinavian last name, like Johansson, or it ends in an itch, Vitch, or Ski, and they will beat your brains in. They're always good at running back. They're built to run a ground and pound. Well, when Fickle got there, they hired Phil Longo. Now, Phil, he throws it a lot, and it's a spread and got some air raid in it and stuff, but he also runs it. North Carolina, they had two really good backs. They got backs, they'll run it. But it's just a different type of – it's more of a finesse attack. And they struggled last year. They weren't really Wisconsin. I think they did have a winning season, but that's why I'm not too – if it were Barry Alvarez or Brett Bielema or whoever, I'd be – that's going to be tough. But and I don't know how good they are defensively. I'll say this about an 11 a.m. kickoff. In the Midwest, it's different. They love those early kickoffs. You ever heard the term kegs and eggs?
Yeah.
That's a Wisconsin tradition. So that place, they're going to get up about 7 a.m., 6 before the sun comes up, and it's on, and so they get loud. Their students are crazy. I went through Madison, I guess it was about during the pandemic, 4 or 5 years ago, and watched the campus. It's a gorgeous campus. It's like you go, it's kind of like Columbia, the city is, because state capital, kind of up on a hill. But if you put Lake Murray, like where the river is in Columbia, when you're coming in from Lexington,
yeah,
you get on this highway, you go through these woods, you come around the bend, and there's a beautiful lake. And then it sits up on a hill. And in Camp Randall I thought there was a person named Camp Randall that they named the stadium after. It's not. It's an old Army base, Camp Randall, where they once upon a time they trained Army folks there, and they got a big old stadium right there on the grounds. Big stone and concrete thing. It gets loud. It's a great atmosphere. I think that's there was wisdom in scheduling this one, and it's going to be one of the biggest home games they've ever had. The only good thing is for Alabama, it's September. You've been working out 90-degree heat all summer. It's probably going to be in at most 75, 77, and hopefully sunny. So it'll be nice football weather for the Tide when they go up there for that game in the early season.
Yeah, that.
For us basketball folks, basketball really in top form will be late January, won't it? I mean, people's going to be talking about the playoffs, so it'll be mid to late January before basketball really gets going, really.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, too. I mean, they try to force this on us in November, and there's a lot of great non-conference games. Nowadays, it looks like, for the most part, they play their good non-conference games in November when nobody cares, and then especially in the SEC.
Yeah.
And then December's kind of just like you have one game every week. You take a break for exams. You take a break for man. I want the Sugar Bowl tournament to come back. Y'all remember that when they had the Sugar Bowl tournament down in New Orleans over between Christmas and New Year's?
Yeah,
and the Sun Carnival Classic in El Paso with the Sun Bowl and all those Christmas tournaments. That was awesome. I mean, because you really start getting into basketball then, but now it's just bowl games. And so they play nobody, and then the conference season starts in January, and that gets people excited. But man, you're right, all eyes. Because there's still going to be 8 teams alive on New Year's. It's 4 more, and then so it's almost. They're trying to make it into the NFL. At first, I was real open-minded. The more I think about this, though, the more it's almost. I got a bad feeling about all this, fellas. I just do.
What do you mean? What do you mean? Bad feeling about what?
I just the whole thing. I mean, that big. Have y'all seen the Big Ten commercial with a little song where they go by the map and pop? It makes me want to throw up every time I see it. And I'm like, there's no reason for Southern Cal and UCLA and Washington, Oregon to be in a conference with Rutgers. I mean, and then I just think about what it's all about. It's about greed and money, and it's like that's not. I mean, I know you need it, and I'm a capitalist, and I'm with you there, but it's there's people that say that sport's going to be destroyed because you're paying players. I just don't. I think players deserve more than they were getting. I'll leave it at that. I've been pretty clear about there's a cap that that sometimes you don't want to overpay. Like that kid that signed with Georgia Tech for $800,000. I mean, he ain't worth $800,000 a year. I'll tell you that right now.
I'll tell you the thing that bothers me, is the committee for the last 3 teams. After this deal, after the automatics, they're going to be the automatics. But I may have butt in. I'm sorry, but the automatics were, Florida State versus Alabama last year, a big stink over that. There's going to be I'm going to find out who the committee is and start brown nosing them. Because I think that's big.
I'm with you. I just it's a bunch of old thinkers too. I mean, we're in this new world, and like coaches don't know. Coaches saw the playoff coming and expansion coming, but they don't. I mean, you schedule so far in advance. I mean, they don't know. They're supposed to. Well, maybe we shouldn't play Mississippi Valley State. But they have such an old school way of thinking. I mentioned Notre Dame. Notre Dame probably schedule will rank in the 70s somewhere, right? And it'll be just like a few years ago when they beat Michigan in the opener and then played nobody and got in. Oh, you're undefeated, so we're going to seed you high. The only time they vectored from that was, and unfortunately it was Alabama because everybody accuses, there's a Bama bias or whatever.
Yeah, sure.
I think it's more SEC getting the credit, but the only time they've ever deviated from that was last year to get Bama in over FSU, and it was a tough decision. But man, I don't think they're aware of this new world. I'd like to see. I don't think you don't need to be like basketball and just go straight off some net ranking or whatever. I think there needs to be some nuance and some data behind some of this, to where it serves as maybe a guideline or a sorting tool, because it's too big now just to be, like the AP poll. I mean, maybe bring some of the BCS computers back in it or something. I just think I think it's too big for just a group of people. I mean, some people you really got to question their qualifications. I read one of their bios, and I've said this before. It's like so-and-so owns the largest car dealership in Kansas City, Missouri. I'm like, why is he on the committee?
Yeah.
I mean, look, at least Condoleezza Rice was a football fan. Big Stanford fan, grew up in Alabama. She knows what it is. She knows what to do. But this guy just looks like somebody's buddy that got on there. I'm like, why in the heck is he doing it? So I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I think a big game this year. I want you to tell me who'll win this game, JC. Tennessee and NC State in Charlotte. That's the second game of the year. That's a huge game for Tennessee. If they drop that game, there's too many difficult games. They're not going to get in the playoff. Can NC State knock off Tennessee in Charlotte?
I think so. I mean, I like both those teams quite a bit, and I hate to say it, I'm not a big Dave Dorn fan at all, but they've recruited and developed players on defense really well, and then on offense, some teams get players out of the portal that have big names. Everybody's like, ooh. NC State got a lot of players out of the portal I like that nobody's talking about. Grayson McCall was at Coastal Carolina for, years. Record-setting quarterback, an absolute winner, a dual-threat guy, makes plays. They got Noah Rogers back from Ohio State, a 5-star guy that signed with the Buckeyes. Wasn't going to break the rotation up there, so he's a local kid, and he's back. They have speed. I don't know much about their offensive line. I think it's solid, and then their defense is nasty. So it always is. And, you're going to have a big crowd there from State being in Charlotte. So Tennessee better watch out. I mean, like I said, Tennessee's a dark horse, but I've always prefaced that by saying if they get by NC State and Charlotte, Tennessee could have a big year. That's going to be a big, big challenge for both of those teams, and could determine what we're talking about with those two once we get to October and November.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, JC, tell everybody where they can find you. I know Dad, you got to get ready now. He picks your brain on his blue plate. Like he already has his blue plate decided on Thursdays, but then he'll kind of throw something out at you and he kind of sees what you say, and then you either confirm what he's thinking or you throw his head in a tailspin. So that's going to be coming up here in about 2 weeks. So
I'm pretty fired up about that. It's been how many years have we been doing this now? We've been doing this about 8 years now.
Yeah, the blue plate was hot.
About 3 or 4.
No, blue plate's been going on forever. The blue plate was hot last year, so I had a guy pressing on me last night about the blue plate. I think he was around 11-3. So
I'm gonna get y'all to text me when he comes, because doesn't he do? He does it like later in the week. So
he does it on Thursday. We release it on Thursday. We always tweet it out. So in his record.
I'll look on Twitter and make sure, because I'm gonna follow it all year this year, and I'll see how much I'm up at the end. I'll probably just jinx the whole thing. Then he's going 3-11 this year.
No, he'll blame you. Don't say that. He'll blame you.
Well, if you listen to me, you'll be digging ditches instead of being on this show.
If you listen to him, you'll be driving a Mercedes.
Yeah, no, you'll be digging ditches.
He's good. Here's what he does. Week 0, he'll pick. We call it his exhibition game. So he'll pick one. There's only 4 games to pick from. If he wins it, he counts it on his record. If he loses it, it was an exhibition game. So just you know how that goes.
What's the spread on that? Florida State's a double-digit favorite.
Yeah, I think it's 12 or something.
On what game?
That game in Dublin.
Georgia Tech, Florida State.
I'm going to tell you something now. The guy at Florida, that Georgia Tech can coach.
Oh yeah, Brent Pry's great coach. Yeah. He's outstanding. The coach they had before him, Jeff Collins, was a little bit too much of a hype.
He might be the next coach at Alabama.
The line's 11.5.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, and they got Haynes King. Y'all remember Jimbo loved Haynes King at A&M, and he had the guts to throw that winning touchdown at Miami after Mario messed it up last year. So just don't. That's a big spread for the Jackets. If it gets to 12, I don't know that I wouldn't take Tech. Florida State lost so many players, guys.
Yeah, and they got a quarterback from Clemson that they brag on, but they ain't worth a crap.
DJ?
Yeah,
he wasn't at Clemson.
He was pretty good at Oregon State, wasn't he?
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not buying the Noles right now.
You can't ask a South Carolina fan if a Clemson quarterback is any good. You know he's not.
I love Trevor Lawrence and Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, they're pretty easy to love.
I mean, I loved them when they weren't playing South Carolina.
Yeah. All right, tell everybody.
Or Alabama.
What you got podcast-wise coming up?
Oh, we just dropped an episode of JC and Morgan at the JC5, lots of different topics. It's about an hour and a half. You can go to the Chiefs, to the App Store. We just redesigned, spruced up the Chiefs Sports app. Lots of content on there, not just South Carolina stuff, from all around the country. Shane Matthews, former Gator quarterback, is on. Just dropped a new podcast with Steven Garcia and Pat DeMarco, which is a great listen for everybody in college football. Steve Spurrier is going to be on there next week. We got some other really cool stuff nationally. So I'd encourage everybody. It's free. Just download Chief Sports Network app and listen to JC and Morgan and everything else.
You just broke everybody's heart saying Stephen Garcia to people in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Thank you, JC.
Thanks, fellas. Y'all be good.
Thank you. Hey, Barry.
Yeah.
UNA has always given some big dog to come in to try to raise money. And they've got, a great baseball player, last big boy that died in basketball. Big-time guys, really big-time guys to come in and speak and make money. This past week, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, their top guy was Steve Spurrier. And so I told somebody, I said, I'm going to ask Barry, but I said, I have a feeling that, Steve likes money. I don't know what UNA pay to get a new arena.
Let me tell you this for sure. He will do no preparation. It'll be the worst speech you have ever heard. Whatever they're paying him, they will overpay. He will not prepare at all. I used to have to speak after him at Gamecock clubs. It'll be terrible. He's a great football coach, terrible speaker. Speaker. So that's not a good speaker. Good name, but not a great speaker. You listen to Tide 100.9. It's the home of Alabama sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. We're not half bad in the neighborhood right now. We're moving with a purpose on most of the major freeways and side streets. Taking a look here at, of course, the center of town here on Lurleen Wallace at McFarland Boulevard, that intersection. Not doing so shabby. And we're also moving smooth inside the construction zones.
We're feeling these changes within just a couple of days.
Text support to 511-511.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Tax fees may apply.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
A partly sunny sky today. The chance of a few isolated showers through tonight. The high today 93. Tonight's low 74. Tomorrow a mix of sun and clouds. A chance of scattered showers and thunderstorms by afternoon. The high 92. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9.
WTBC Tuscaloosa and W265CG Tuscaloosa, a Town Square media station. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Eddie Garcia.
News from the NFL, where the New England Patriots have agreed to trade pass rusher Matthew Judon to the Atlanta Falcons for a third-round pick. This after New England and Judon could not agree on a contract extension for the former Pro Bowler. Minnesota Vikings first-round pick quarterback J.J. McCarthy had surgery for a torn meniscus in his right knee and will miss the entire upcoming season. In baseball games of note, battle of division leaders, Brewers edge the Dodgers 5-4. LA's lead in the NL West is now down to just 2.5 games on both San Diego and Arizona. Yankees beat the White Sox 10-2. New York slugger Aaron Judge hit career home run number 300, becoming the fastest player in baseball history to reach that milestone. Orioles down the Nationals 4-1. Baltimore still a half game back in New York for first in the AL East. Astros won their 8th straight.
Now through December 28th, Castrol Edge and Edge High Mileage Motor Oil are on rollback at Walmart.
Claim based on sequence 9 test under high load conditions versus API SP test limits.
Inside the locker room with former Crimson Tide basketball coach Wimp Sanderson and his son, former SEC and ACC assistant basketball coach Barry Sanderson. It's time to take you inside the locker room on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back to the second hour of Inside the Locker Room. Appreciate JC joining us in the first hour. All the interviews go up on the podcast center there at Tide 100.9 websites. You can get any of the show's interviews there. We want to thank Andrew Conifer as we kick off this 8 o'clock hour out at 4705 McFarland Boulevard, Suite 3 over in Northport. Give Andrew and his staff a call. You look for Home Life Auto. He will help you stay protected. Give them a call, 205-722-9201. Andrew Conifer, Allstate Insurance. All right. Guys, on August the 26th at the University Church of Christ, which is over there kind of right across from Baumhauer's, there's going to be a big event. And I know David Harden and I'm assuming his brother are helping put this on. They got great guests there, Dad. We got to get some of these guys on our show. John Hanna in the Football Hall of Fame will speak. Cedric Burns will speak as well there. And then I think Ryan Fowler, who's with Tide 100.9, will interview Coach Nate Oates. And it's all on August the 26th. I think the doors open at 5:15. They'll have an auction there. Then the program will start at 6. Well, David Harden, who's a friend of ours, who's grown up.
Daddy and I went to church together.
Yeah, he used to. His daddy used to have to keep you straight on the back row. You and Jimmy Dockery. But we got David in with us this morning. Good morning, David. How you doing, my man?
Hey, David.
Hey, Barry. I'm doing good. Hey, Coach. Hey, Barry. Can I tell an eyewitness Wimp Sanderson story?
No.
Is it going to praise him or knock him down a little bit?
Knock me down. I can tell you that.
No, it won't, Coach. I wouldn't. Hey, I got your back, bro. I got your back, brother.
You can't tell it then if you're not going to pick on him.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead, David. I'm just teasing.
Well, I was out at practice one day and watching, and Coach was being real mild-mannered. David Hobbs was being the bad guy that day. I mean, Coach Hobbs they were running a drill, and I think it was a 2-on-3 drill or 3-on-2, but basically the drill was for rebounding. And so, you know, Barry, you know how this works. You know, you have your lines, and, you know, you just keep going through the lines until the coach says, hey, that's enough.
Yeah.
So one group comes up, and I can't remember who all was in the group, but I do remember David Hobbs telling somebody, he said, you know, you're not just trying hard enough. You know, Coach can't play you if you don't, you know, do what you're supposed to do. And I know you want to play, you know. And so Coach Sanderson didn't say anything. You know, he just over there, you know, observing and everything. And so the next group comes up, and Robert Ory's in that group. And and so Robert's group went through, and Robert didn't do something right. I don't remember, and that doesn't really matter. So Robert was, you know, Coach had said, Robert, we talked about this for 30 minutes and and you're not doing what we spent all that time working on. And real mild-mannered talking to him. And so Robert's jogging back to get back into the line again, and he mumbled something under his breath.
Yeah.
That's him.
And Coach Sanderson heard it. And Coach had a basketball under his arm, and he dropped that ball down like he was going to drop kick an old football. Of course, nobody knows what drop kicking is anymore. But he dropped that basketball, and it was on the student side of where the students. And Coach kicked that ball. He must have kicked that ball up in those seats, probably about 30 rows. And he kind of got real active verbally, and he told Robert to get on those steps and don't quit running all those steps until he told him to.
Oh, yeah, that's a long way to the top. So,
well, you know, yeah, getting on Robert Ory, no, everybody would be. I kind of treat them all the same a little bit.
Well, it's kind of like every time you hear Robert talk, he might have been tough to deal with, but I tell you what, he sure gives Coach Sanderson a lot of credit for the success that he had in the pros.
Yeah, well, a guy can make big shots like that. You tend to forgive some of the things that Robert.
Yeah, that's right. You're right.
When he mumbles under his breath, what you should do is act like you didn't hear it, David. Just act like you didn't hear it.
Yeah, I probably been better off doing
that. I imagine what got his ire was, like I said, they had talked and worked on some basic fundamentals about rebounding, because, you know, it's like, you know, what I know about football, basketball, 3 things, and this is what your dad talks about all the time, is, you know, shooting comes and goes, but rebounding and defense you can do every night because it's all about effort. So I imagine it was just an effort thing that he didn't like that he saw out of Robert that day.
That's
funny.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, we got August. I know I went to the event last year, actually, when Reese Davis was there.
Right.
You guys got a lot of speakers this year. Talk about the pigskin kickoff on August the 26th.
Well, it's a men's event, and we have reserved tables, which gives you 8 seats, and they're $350. And you can call either the office at University Church of Christ from 8 to 5 every day, or you can call me, David Harden, at 205-454-7088, and we'll get you a table. And also, we have a silent auction for Tuscaloosa Angels, which is a group that helps with foster children and foster families. And I'm actually involved in a small group that we adopted one of these foster families. Nice. And I'm just telling you, we have gotten real close to that family and the children that they bring in, and we do, we help them emotionally, and we do what they call a love box every month, and we put in that box things that those kids of that family needs that's above their budget, that they can afford. So it's a great organization, and we got some great things to silent auction to for them. We got Coach Oates has signed a bunch of stuff. Coach Saban has signed some stuff, and so we'll have some interesting things on that too. I'm really excited. We got John Hanna. Coach Anderson, I did not know this. John has never been, since he left Alabama, been back to Tuscaloosa to speak to any kind of group.
Yeah, John Ham's a great player, boy. What a player.
So he's never been. Where's John Hanna living now, David?
He's up he's in Albertville.
Okay.
Where he's from?
Bluntsville, where he's from. He was involved with, I think he worked for a brokerage agency, stock and bonds and that kind of stuff, financial services in Boston after he finished football. And then they finally came back. It's actually Bluntsville, which is up there on Sand Mountain. And he's raising cattle, man.
Really?
I tried to call him. Yeah, oh, yeah. He's big time into it. And, in fact, we were supposed to have talked last week, and he had to text me and said, "Hey, David, I can't talk tonight because the army worms are in my field." So he had to be out there spraying for those army worms. I don't know if you've seen
his daddy was a good player.
Yeah, and his brother Charlie and David, too. Yeah. In fact, Charlie ended up, I can't remember which team it was, but he ended up being on a Super Bowl winning team. Yeah. But John is just, man, he's down to earth. He's going to talk, but he's going to do a Q&A. So, if you got some questions you want to ask about Coach Brian or, Coach, didn't their dad, Herb Hanna, play for Alabama also?
He did. Herb played for Alabama. Very, very fine player. He was back he's even back before my time, yeah. It's a great player.
I think it's a good chance to, ask somebody about their involvement with Coach Bryant and then what it's like in the NFL. And, he was voted in 1981 or 83 the greatest lineman to ever play the game. Yeah. And his picture was on, and that was by Sports Illustrated. His picture was on front page of Sports Illustrated. So we're really excited to have him. And then Coach Oates is coming, and we're excited about that too. And he came last year, Barry. I can't remember. Maybe he was over at the table next.
No, you had he and I sitting right beside each other last year. Yeah.
So he's going to be a speaker this year, and I think everybody's really amped about basketball, and I think Coach Oates had the same approach your daddy did about shooting, coming and going and play. Everybody thinks about shooting threes, but I think he emphasizes defense and rebounding too. And it's like your daddy said, he's got 10 or 12 really good players, so that bench can be his best buddy. Somebody ain't getting the effort, he can sit them over there and let them think about it and put somebody else in and give that that defensive and offensive rebounding effort. And then what I'm excited about is that also Ryan is going to interview Cedric Burns. And, I've said this story, I've used this analogy before, but I was with Coach Jim McElwain a few years ago, and we were talking, and I can't remember what the discussion was, but Jim says, hey, David, you know the book I want to read? And I said, no, Coach, what's that? He said, the one that Cedric writes.
Yeah.
So Cedric's been out there 4 decades. He started in the late 70s over at Bryant Hall, and, he's like he says, I've worked for 3 of those statues out there in front of the stadium.
Yeah.
So
Cedric tells some stories. You may not want people filming in there, where he can really tell some good stories in there. So.
Well, I'm sure he will tell us. Well, the neat thing about it is he will tell, and I'm sure he won't say anything that he shouldn't say.
Sure.
But here's the thing about it: you will hear some things from him that you can't read online, or you won't hear on any radio show.
Yeah. No doubt.
So
we've actually had Cedric on once. We tried to get him on again, but I'm not sure what happened. He was great when we had him on. So, David, that's a great event. 3 great speakers there. I'm sure Ryan will do a good job with it. Tell everybody once again how they get tickets.
Okay, it's the Men's Pigskin Kickoff, Monday, August the 26th. You can call University Church at 205-553-3001, or you can call me, David Harden, 205-454-7088. Hey, go. Coach, was that story that made you look good, didn't it?
Yeah, that's fine. I had a lot of trying to get Robert to play a little bit harder all the time, so.
But he sure does love you, man. If you catch him on your show.
I got a birthday note from the other day. I appreciate it. Yeah, thank you a lot.
Thank you, David. Great event. Look forward. We'll talk about it as it gets closer to it. But
okay,
we appreciate
and I got your 2 tickets.
Yeah, and Tuscaloosa Angels. Nothing else is worth going and supporting that group just based on the things that you said right there. So, and I can assure you, if David Harden and these guys are doing it, then the money will go to Tuscaloosa Angels. I can assure you of that. So, great job by you guys with all that, David. Thank you very much.
Thanks, David.
Okay, thanks, Barry. Thanks, Coach.
All right, there, David Harden, great guy. There, Tuscaloosa Toyota. Go to TuscaloosaToyota.com. You can get all the new inventory, the used inventory. You want to rent a Toyota, you can do it right there at the website. Order parts. If you need to schedule a service, do it there. We talked with Justin actually yesterday. They got some great deals going on out at Tuscaloosa Toyota, and I know it because my family's been going out there and buying cars. So they bought, I think, 4 from him here in the last year. So swing by Skyland Boulevard or go to the website, TuscaloosaToyota.com. Phone lines will be open now, 205-342-9904. We got Tom. Hold on, we'll get to Tom when we get back from break. Listen to Tide 100.9 and 1230 AM WTVC. It's the home of Alabama sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. Found some trouble on 69, folks, on the south end of town. And this is on the southbound lanes of 69, just right around Mimosa Park Road and 61st Street. Now, you're going to have the heavies in both the north and southbound lanes, and it looks like the northbound lanes are even heavier than the southbound side.
Rewards to earn free food. At participating Taco Bell stores for a limited time only while supplies last. Price and participation vary. Drinks exclude freezes. Tax extra. Rewards program subject to terms and conditions. Points earned on qualifying purchases.
Road tripping, business travel, or bringing your car in for repairs. All great reasons to rent a Toyota at Tuscaloosa Toyota. You can rent the latest Toyota models for a day, a week, or a weekend. Every Toyota rental-car comes with 24 hours roadside.
Queen price, save up to $700 plus a free adjustable base with select Sealy mattresses. Get matched at Mattress Firm. Sleep at night. Restrictions apply. See store or website for details.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
A partly sunny sky today. The chance of a few isolated showers through tonight. The high today 93. Tonight's low 74. Tomorrow a mix of sun and clouds. A chance of scattered showers and thunderstorms by afternoon. The high 92. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9.
Mr. SEC Tournament Wimp Sanderson gives you his excellent analysis every weekday on Inside the Locker Room, right here on Tide 100.9.
Welcome back to Inside the Locker Room. Get right up to the Yellowwood Hotline and get Tom in. Good morning, Tom.
Hey, Tom.
Hey, Barry. Hey, Coach. How are y'all?
We're good. How are you, buddy?
I'm good. I really was picking up on some things that JC said, and I thought they were very interesting. The fact that he said that he's got a bad feeling the way things are going in football in college. Did you pick up on that?
Yeah. And I agree with him. Well, I think he was talking about the conferences and the distance between the schools and all that. It's just, it's ridiculous.
Well, I just, I'm kind of like JC was describing. The more and the more you think about it, season's going to start, no Pac-12, and all like that. And, Texas and Oklahoma, they're in the SEC, and it's good for the conference for them to come in, but the Big 12, it had a certain amount of luster to it, and Pac-12 did. I'm going to miss all that. I guess that's the dread that I have.
Well, not to interrupt you, but you think about there will be some good games. I mean, obviously. But think about what you're doing to the athlete. Making the athlete travel from California all the way to the East Coast back and forth like 6 times. That's what people don't realize. Yeah, the games are good and people are going to watch them, but you're just what you're doing to these kids, traveling them over three time zones, back and forth. That's ridiculous.
Well, don't you kind of like the tradition that's always been? I've always liked that USC and UCLA and now Oregon. Somewhat of a power, and on I could go, and so I kind of the thinking about that being gone, I guess is some sentimental value to me to it, but. And another thing is that he brought up about basketball, some of the Sugar Bowl tournament and the tournament out in Texas and all like that. And I haven't read one single thing about Coach Odom letting out the schedule for Maui. I haven't seen one thing about it. Have you?
No, I mean, I'm sure they have the team speak. He's had some health issues, and I think he's worried about this Vegas thing that Alabama.
Well, he picks them 3 years in advance.
Yeah.
So they know they don't
but
announce
I
it.
thought by now that the schedule would be out. We don't know who all is playing and what time and everything.
Yeah,
but
even the event that Alabama's going to in Vegas, the times and all that are not even out yet. So I imagine that they'll get all that set here before too long.
Well, maybe I am jumping ahead. I'm a little bit nervous about that Maui tournament, kind of fading away. I believe that it's going to really catch some competition with these NIL tournaments, don't you?
Oh, yeah. And they won't have the budget to do it, to pay them. It's cost enough to get those teams over there. That's we've played in that when I was in South Carolina. You talk about a trip now. You got to get all the way to L.A. and then get from L.A. to Maui. That's a long way, especially from this side of the country.
Yeah, I guess so. And but anyway, I thought about all those things that JC was talking about, and that popped up in my mind about the basketball. The overlap and football is going to be something else this year.
Yeah, when you're talking about basketball, I mean, football not ending, the third week of January. So
I know. And we're in 6 games into the conference by then.
Yeah. So if Alabama's Still in it. That's just a lot. So I don't know, but it is what it is at this point.
Anyway, good show this morning. Enjoyed it.
Thank you, Tom.
Thanks, Tom.
See you.
All right. We go ahead and we can take the break here. We get back. We had Coach Sheridan. He also had Greg Byrne on with Chris Stewart last night. Had a lot to say about the transition from Coach Saban, their conversations, I guess, on that Tuesday to him retired on that Wednesday, and kind of what went into getting Alabama's football coach. Dad, do you think DeBoer was his first choice? It sounds like it was. He said he was in Seattle.
I don't think there's any doubt it was.
Yeah, I think
he makes phone calls.
I think they threw out the smoke screen of Dan Lanning. Everybody focused on that. And while everybody was focused on that, he was going to Seattle.
The smoke screen was Florida State and Texas. He called both those coaches.
Now, if Sark would have taken the job, I think that may have been who Coach Saban thought. You think Sark could have had this job?
Well, he wanted to find out his interest, and Sark pretty much indicated that he was not interested. He had a good job, and so in the back of his mind, he knew Sark wasn't going to take it, but he felt like that he needed to contact him, and because Florida State was hot and it played well, and the guy was a down to earth coach who didn't ruffle feathers too much. They called him, or he called them, and then but his trip was made to see exactly where he stood. You got to meet a guy face to face to know whether you want to hire him or not. And when he flew up there and met him face to face, and I think Kalen asked him legitimate questions, salary and the opportunity to bring the assistants he wanted and get rid of the ones that were here or whatever. The schedule, those kind of things. I think they felt comfortable with each other, and that was big.
One of the things he said is he studied, I guess, the transition from John Wooden, Pat Summitt, Coach Bryant, like how they hired. Maybe just kind of studied how that went. I don't even know do you know who UCLA hired after John Wooden? I'm not even sure who they.
Gene Bartow.
Gene Bartow, whoever they hired after Pat Summitt didn't work, and whoever they hired after Coach Bryant, I guess you would say maybe didn't work. But that he studied that because you're following a legend. That's pretty interesting that they would look at those kind of things there and kind of how they hired and what they did, and maybe he looked at some of the mistakes that they made in doing it and. But I think he got it right.
He's hired and fired people.
Yeah.
In big time positions. So it's not a deal where it's always uncomfortable to fire one, but it does happen if you're in charge of things. So he's fired some, hired some. He's hit on most of them. There might be one or two that he could take back, or not necessarily Alabama over his years, Arizona and places, but his percentage of get the correct people has been pretty good, I think.
Yeah, it's been really good here. I mean, they had maybe one hiccup with the baseball coach that he had to let go of. I think that was 1 year, maybe, but he's. Got Rob Vaughn in now, and I think Rob will do a good job. And I think the baseball job's a little bit better than it used to be. If they go to 34 scholarships, they're not battling
a lot.
As much as they were in the past.
Of course, everybody else is better too.
Yeah, and they're maybe a little bit more committed to the NIL maybe than Alabama baseball is right now. So maybe they can get that changed. Obviously, Coach Oates has got it going. We'll see what Coach DeBoer does with this first season starting here. Oh, and about at the end of the month, so it's getting close. All right, let's tell them about Bryant Bank before we get to break.
Well, we talk about it, and I try not to say the same thing every time, but basically it is what it is. 4 locations in Tuscaloosa, locations in Birmingham, and a bank that will give you an opportunity to bank online the entire time. You'll know that your funds are safe. They're interested in the community. There'll be a banker that you will know, and he will know you, generally speaking. If not, after a couple of visits, you'll know each other. The bank will be nice, and the bankers will be good be great to help you, and they'll also have the people surrounding them that can help you. And Bryant Bank is your bank, and I think that's important. It's a bank that if a problem comes up, you can call the bank. If you can't get by there, get it straight on the telephone. I don't think many problems will come up. So go by Bryant Bank, tell me you heard on Inside the Locker Room, and give them an opportunity to handle your finances, and even not only your home finances, but your business finances. Bryant Bank, the very, very best.
All right, we'll take the break here. We got some sound here from Coach Sheridan. We also could play a little bit of the Greg Byrne deal with last night with Chris Stewart, which will be on Wednesday nights this year, which is a big change for a lot of people. So church night, they're doing it on church night, Wyatt. Church night. This is Tide 100.9. It's the home of Alabama sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. Found some trouble on 69, folks, on the south end of town. And this is on the southbound lanes of 69, just right around Mimosa Park Road and 61st Street. Now, you're going to have the heavies in both the north and southbound lanes, and it looks like the northbound lanes are even heavier than the southbound side.
Love it. Or return it for free with Lume's 60-day money-back guarantee. That's LUME deodorant.com. Code SHOWER to save 15% today.
Alabama fans are all over the world, and we are too. Download the Tide 100.9 app right now in the App Store and Google Play, and take the Crimson Tide everywhere you go.
Welcome back to Inside the Locker. I get right back to the hotline here. If you guys want to dial us up, 205-342-9904. We'll be happy to get any callers in. We don't have to listen to the coaches. If we got callers, no problem. We'll get right to the Yellowwood hotline and get in. He doesn't call us enough, but he's always a great caller, my man Joe. What's up, Joe?
Hey, Joe. Oh, man. I'm going to have to start calling y'all every week.
Yeah, you don't ever call us, Joe.
Hey, it's that time. It's that time. We're getting back into the click of things here. Got a question for y'all. Can you name me an AD in the SEC who has done a better job than Byrne and White have at Tennessee and Alabama?
The guy at LSU's done a pretty good job.
Give me an example.
Well, I think their baseball won the national championship. Their basketball, women's basketball.
Wait a minute. How long has it been since baseball won?
2 years.
Okay. Now, is that the same AD that's there now? Didn't they make a change?
I think it is. Didn't he hire Jay Johnson? I don't know. Did he not hire Jay Johnson?
It's close either way. It's so close. They do. They have a women's basketball. But I was thinking football, basketball men, and baseball.
Obviously, Tennessee right now, I would say, would be at the top of the. Well, I don't know. Alabama, yeah, you're right. I mean, there ain't nobody doing better than those two programs right now.
No,
for sure.
No, Burns and him have done the best hours.
Yeah.
Look, Barry, I need your opinion on something about Wimp.
Okay.
He has been blue plating this Auburn-Oklahoma game. He says if Auburn is 5-0, he's going to take Auburn. And
well, of course, I always sure.
Well, they can't be 5-0 because they got to play Oklahoma. They'd be 4-0, right? In Oklahoma,
4-0.
Yeah.
4-0.
I got to always check.
I didn't say anything about it. I just said Auburn would be the favorite, probably.
Yeah. But he said he would. I thought I heard you.
Well, Oklahoma lost a wide receiver yesterday, and Auburn is going to be if they won the first four, going to be hot, and the home field advantage for Auburn is great. So I'd probably go ahead.
Here's my question: if Tennessee goes into Oklahoma before that game and beats Oklahoma, is it going to be a big deal for Auburn to beat them?
Yeah.
It will?
Yeah, because it's a conference win. You need all of you get.
I think they are supposed to win that game.
Well, okay.
If Tennessee even plays Oklahoma close at Oklahoma.
Hey,
if you don't do what you're supposed to, you're in bad trouble.
Yes, yeah. You get fired. Exactly.
We got to let the season play out a little bit, Joe. We can't start predicting games in Game 5. We got to see these teams. That's the great thing. You get to see these teams a little bit before that happens. So
I agree. But, y'all like that Auburn Kool-Aid, and y'all get real soft.
We like the Auburn Kool-Aid. I've been critical of thought they need to get better than Peyton Thorne, but now everybody's telling me Peyton Thorne's doing great down there. So I don't know. We'll see when the season kicks off.
Jack settled in yet? He's having a good time down there?
He's not going there.
Oh, get me up to date.
Well, he had surgery on his elbow, which I guess you knew that, right? Anyway, so he didn't throw it all this year. So for his development and all, to hopefully get some innings and all, he's going to go out to with Coach Sproul out at Shelton and then kind of open his recruitment back up. So he's not going down there. Yeah.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. That's the thing to do.
Yeah.
You never know what that could lead into. Hey, I saw where Sean Peck Love did an NIL on you, didn't he?
Yeah. How'd you know that?
It was on the sports about a month ago. The day he did it, I think it was on the sports. Went over and got that kid from Central.
Yeah, some reason all these guys end up showing up at Bryant and from all these different schools, and somehow it's always okay. I'm not real sure how that happens, but all these kids move and go to Hillcrest and Bryant, and nobody ever moves over to our places because everybody's scared to do it. I don't know how they're doing all that, Joe. A lot of moving around in high school.
Is the area the same for you this time?
No, because Hillcrest went 7A. So actually, we picked up Brookwood.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
you got Brookwood,
Central, and Bryant.
Ooh, still staying right here in the town.
Yeah.
Yep.
What's disappointing too, Joe, is I'm not going to get to play Hillcrest or County High for the second year. Neither one of them are, and those are great games here in the city that we can sell out, and I can't get either one of them to schedule us. Little old Northridge. That's disappointing.
How come these schools don't want these good gate games?
I have no idea because I don't know. I couldn't. There'd be sellouts at all.
Yeah,
4 places,
exactly.
But
and that and we need everybody in the city playing everybody, regardless of classification.
Yeah, and it makes it hard to get your schedule done when you try to schedule 30. I'm having a hard time getting teams from Birmingham to play us as well. So I don't know. I still need some games.
Man, it saves you travel money, everything.
Yeah,
I mean, and playing during the week, school nights, you got that huge advantage of getting into bed early and everything. Earlier, I should say. Not early, but earlier.
Yeah.
Well, hey, look, I've been up in Gatlinburg. I played golf with Terry Bradshaw's cousin. He could hit it a mile. He was about 6'5", 230.
Could he find it?
Terry Bradshaw's cousin?
Could he find it?
Yeah.
Was it like a first cousin or a second cousin?
He didn't say. He just said they were.
Did he introduce himself as I'm Terry Bradshaw's cousin?
No. You know how I reckon? They actually favored, and he said he was from Shreveport, Louisiana. I said, "Are you not kin to Terry Bradshaw, are you?" And he said, "How did you know?" And I said, "I can see the resemblance in your face."
Was he bragging?
Was he what?
Was he bragging about it?
No, but he didn't hesitate to tell me when I asked him.
Could you find his? We know all the time when you talk about how far they hit it. Could he find the ball?
He was pretty good, Wimp. He was about a 4 handicap.
Oh crap! He could find them all then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope you were on his team.
No, we were just all out there playing. And of course, I was mid-80s.
Get on top of that mountain and hit that ball down to that par 3.
Yeah, the one on the mountain, right?
Yeah.
On the backside. You really just circle that mountain on the back. It's 34 back there. 37, you got 3 par 5s on the front. God, he just crushed those par 5s.
It's been a long time since I've been there. I don't know.
Yeah, he crushed them. But anyway, the people up there, I had my Alabama gear on, Tennessee people, they're all fired up. They think that Texas and them will benefit more from the mics being in the helmet than any other teams.
Because because the quarterback, you're talking about on the offensive side?
Yeah. Being able to, make adjustments before you snap it. Of course, I don't see how as fast as Tennessee plays, and Texas don't play slow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they could
mess up Alabama's defense. You don't watch it.
Alabama, under Nick Saban, they didn't like guys that went fast.
No, they did not.
They did not. That was.
Yeah.
Now we'll see.
That's where Ole Miss started very first. They were going fast. Yeah.
We'll see if Kane Womack's defense can handle it. But
hey, I actually agree with y'all on this defense, though. I started to call in that day.
Thank you. Yeah, that was neat. Thank you.
Out of time. People forget, but y'all will remember this. You remember what Pruitt said toward the end of the season when they were struggling? And he said it when they got to the playoffs. He said, we had to make our defense simple. I had to go to coach and make our defense simpler. Y'all remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they're just going to be simple.
Yeah,
so you think it's good that it's simple? Or
yes.
Not, well, I say simple, not as complicated.
Right, I do.
Well, I think
I don't like defensive backs turning their back to the quarterback. I do not like that at all. And man, we did so much of that with Saban; it was unreal. And but anybody, not just us, you can call pass interference on Kool-Aid every play last year if you wanted to. Almost.
That's Barry's favorite player.
Joe, over under 9.5, Alabama.
Oh, they go 10.
They're going 10?
10-2.
10-2.
Yeah. Remember now, you took Kelly also.
What do you mean?
So
I took Kelly.
You said that Kelly would win 10 again this year. You said that earlier.
Who's going to beat Alabama? Who's their 2 losses?
Oh, Tennessee, and I really think we're going to beat Kirby. I really do. I think we're going to beat him. I think he's going to struggle.
Tennessee, he's going to beat Alabama. I don't see that.
Yeah. And I really don't want to say Kelly because I just don't think LSU will beat us. That's going to be a train wreck when we get to them. They'll have at least 2 losses, not 1.
How many games will Lane Kiffin lose?
This is the year for him. The thing that gets me is we don't play him. And if he's sitting at 11-1 and we're sitting there at 10-2.
11-1?
I mean, think about it.
Joe.
You hadn't thought about that?
11-1?
Or is the SEC going to get 3 teams in or 2 teams in?
In what?
Football.
3.
In the 12.
They're going to get 3.
Well, if we get 3, main thing is we beat Georgia. We're in the driver's seat.
So you're telling me Ole Miss is going to win? They're going to beat. They got. Is that Wake Forest game even in question? Are they going to win that one? That's at Wake.
Well, Wake could score on you, but that's about it. All
right, they got to go to South Carolina. Is that a given? If that game's at night?
I think they'll beat South Carolina. I think South Carolina's going to be one of the 2 worst teams in the conference.
Are they going to win at LSU?
Yeah, I think he can beat Kelly. With that defense Kelly's got, he can beat him. Of course, now we got Bo Davis down there with your boy Kelly. But let me tell you something. Everybody talks about how great Bo Davis is, but look at where he has coached. And he has had the best Jimmies and the Joes out there to coach. And y'all know for a fact that's the main key.
Well,
it's not.
I ain't going.
You're going to tell me that Alabama's going to go to Wisconsin in a knockdown, drag out game. Everybody beat up and come back and play Georgia and win.
They got 2 weeks, Wimp.
Oh, they
got
a
2
weeks
in between.
Yeah, they got a bye.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I need Ole Miss to lose 3 games. Now we got to find 3 losses in there.
Well, you find them. Let me know. Can you find them right now?
Well, I'm trying. You're trying. I'm trying. Georgia, they're going to beat Georgia. Lane Kiffin's going to beat Kirby.
I done told y'all Kirby's going to lose 2 this year.
He's going to lose to Ole Miss?
Look, he's got Texas, Ole Miss, and us. He's going to go 1-2 in those 3 games. And he better hope nobody upsets him on the back end.
I'll tell you who'll beat Lane Kiffin, because he always loses a game he's not supposed to. He'll go over to Arkansas and lose.
I wouldn't doubt it. Of course, I got to put Arkansas with Vandy and South Carolina.
He's got Oklahoma right before that. Well, he has a bye then, so I don't know.
But, man, isn't it great to not have divisions?
Maybe. Not sure.
Shoot, man, it's going to level the playing field a lot.
Well, Georgia finally has a tough schedule.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, so.
That's the whole key, right?
Texas got guys hurt. Texas may not win it now.
Yeah, they're losing.
But Wimp, everybody's going to get guys hurt.
I know, but they get hurt early.
Well, that's right. They get hurt early.
You had 5 scholarship running backs. You've lost 2. So, we'll see. Thank you, Joe.
Thank
y'all.
All right, we'll take this last break, and then we'll get out of the way and wrap up the show. You listen to what have they got on ESPN? Could Deion Sanders become the Dallas Cowboys' next head coach? Yeah. Whew. Will Deion Sanders be the head coach at Colorado next year?
No.
I think they're getting tired of his act over there. It was fun. It was fine the first year, but that thing's getting stale. I mean, it's just, that guy's a lot to deal with. Can you imagine being his athletic director? What goes on a daily basis?
I would hate to be
transfer portal wore out.
Do you think that athletic director is sitting in his staff meeting, looking at his assistant AD, saying, "It was cute last year. We did sell a lot of tickets, but is this real?
We can't keep getting these kids in school to transfer in here.
Is this really
and
worth
they transfer
it?
out?"
And he just ripped a guy from CBS and somebody the other day on the in the press card. All right, we got to take a break. This is Tide 100.9. It's the home of Alabama sports.
Go inside the Alabama Crimson Tide with the Gary Harris Show.
Coming up Thursday morning at 9 a.m. on the Gary Harris Show, the coach, Ellis Johnson, will join me to break down the upcoming SEC football season. Plus, we'll continue our high school football previews and Jeff Spiegel from ABC 3340 and your phone calls. That's the Gary Harris Show, Thursday morning at 9 a.m.
Catch the Gary Harris Show Monday through Friday, 9 to 11 a.m. on Tide 100.9 and Tide100.9.com.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. Those northbound lanes of 69 at Mimosa Park Road. You do have that accident. Now, they are showing some improve, but the left lane still blocked. That traffic delay, however, not as heavy, still slow, but it is at least moving. And we also have some situation on McFarland westbound after...
Or visit Mezwins.com. I've got this.
No representations made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
A partly sunny sky today. The chance of a few isolated showers through tonight. The high today 93. Tonight's low 74. Tomorrow a mix of sun and clouds. A chance of scattered showers and thunderstorms by afternoon. The high 92. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9.
Inside the Locker Room with Wimp and Barry on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back to Inside the Locker Room. As I mentioned tonight, 7 o'clock, Northridge football will play Coleman in a jamboree. They may have another team out there. I'm not sure exactly. But 7 o'clock, so get out there, support high school football. Coach Lally, good guy, and doing a great job out at Northridge. We look forward to high school football getting started. Got another scrimmage this weekend, Dad. Then they'll one more week of practice, and they'll take the weekend off. The next weekend, then it's game week at that point. What are they looking for when they have these scrimmages? I guess trying to maybe settle in on the depth. I'm pretty sure they probably have a pretty good feel for their first string guys. They're kind of trying to build some depth here and see how guys go with live bullets. I don't know how, when you start seeing these injuries with these other programs, do you really let them tackle this, that, and the other? These
well, I think what you do is you find out the ones that are your ones, and you play your 2s and 3s.
Yeah.
Because you know that your ones are going to be good enough to play. They don't need to practice. You don't say that publicly, and you don't say it to the media. But I think you play with your ones. Don't play with your ones, and you play your 2s and 3s throughout the next 2 scrimmages.
Yeah. So they'll get back in the stadium, have a scrimmage, and then they're starting to settle in. I think how they handle the 2s and the 3s and the scout team and all that, I think you got. I've talked about this a lot. I think you got to make sure you handle it properly. Because sometimes, like a freshman kid that comes in, he doesn't understand. All of a sudden, he's on the scout team and probably not going to play much this year. But if as a kid you really think it's going to be a good player, you got to make sure you handle it properly, or these guys will be whining back home about what's going on, and they'll have one foot towards the portal, unfortunately. So, of course, they can't go anywhere now, so you got the whole semester to kind of take care of all that. All right, we'll get out of here, and we'll make way for the Gary Harris Show. Gary will be in ready to rock and roll, so give him a listen. You got Wyatt's got his show there from 11 to 12. The Miller's Edge will go from 12 to 2, and Ryan Fowler in the game will take you home from 2 until 6 o'clock. You listen to Tide 100.9 and 1230 AM WTBC. It's the home of Alabama sports. Have a great day, everybody.